Hello, I'm making a tier list of the characters and the games. I probably don't want to spend too long on these characters because the thing with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the characters, they don't have a whole lot of depth. They really don't. You just kind of have to pick the ones you like, basically, for whatever reason. This character, sorry, I don't remember her name, unfortunately. She's Riju's like guard. Right-hand man. She's cool. Very tall. Yeah, B tier. She's just cool, and that's kind of it. I'm not gonna include any side characters. Only characters that appear in the main quest. I mean, Koga, he's technically a side adventure character, right? I didn't actually do this quest. If he has any quests over in Terrytown. Sorry, Hudson. It's probably one thing I would do if I went back to play the game a little more. Didn't get distracted by Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, I'm not including the side characters except Master Koga just because he's so funny. Deku Tree, he's like C tier. He doesn't do anything in this game. He gives you a memory, a single memory, and a main quest rather, to find the Master Sword, which you could have easily done way before ever needing to go to him. I don't know why Ganondorf's on here twice. I mean, he's like the same guy. Why is he here twice? I'll use this picture because he looks cooler, in my opinion. Ganondorf's awesome. Glad he's back. Matt Mercer did a great job. I mean, was there ever any doubt that Matt Mercer would do a good job? But yeah, he's pretty cool. Again, not a whole lot of depth. He's just in some memories, and that's basically it. Don't really know his backstory too much, or where he came from, or why he wants to take over the world. You know what I mean? He's just kind of evil, but he's cool, and he's Matt Mercer. Keen is like a B tier. I like him. He's a nice guy, and that's it. Hetsu? He's like, did I put him in A tier before? I don't know why. I guess just because I think he does a funny dance. He's like B tier, actually. He's fine. I'm glad I can upgrade my inventory, but that doesn't make him good. Impa's boring. She's in 2 main quests. Well, not even. She's in 2 scenes and says some boring crap, and then she goes away forever. Joshua, she's like a little better than Impa, I guess, just because she's a new character. She's a nerd. She's okay. Link, he's B tier. This is probably my most controversial placement, but I cannot stand how Link has no emotion. I do like Link. I do like his design. I think he is a good character. I like playing as Link, but he is not, he's not an interesting character really, because he doesn't have any freaking emotion. He's like a Persona protagonist who everyone's just like, wow, Link, you're so awesome, and he stands there and says nothing and doesn't even have any expression either. What is going on? Koga's funny. He's A tier. He's IA tier. He's so funny how bad he is at everything he does. It's very good. Minoru, she doesn't really deserve it, but I like her so much that I put her in A tier. I just love her design. I love that she's a big robot. Yes. This guy, I don't know, he's a bit of a jerk. I put him at the bottom of B. Paya, she's barely in the game, but she's cute, B tier. Pura, she's also not in the game that much, but she's more attractive, so A tier. I like her attitude. I like her design is really good in this game. A tier for no reason. Above Ganondorf. No. Raru, he's like, he's kind of stupid. Like, he doesn't do anything to stop Ganondorf, even though he knows he's evil before he even goes to the throne. Like Zelda's like, I think that guy might be sus, and he's like, I'm well aware that he's evil. In the throne room, and he didn't do anything, and then, oh look, Ganondorf took over the world. Okay, Raru, you idiot. But his design is so good. So I give him A tier. Riju, like, good design, good personality, good character stuff, good little story in Gerudo City. She deserves it. She deserves the top. Robbie, he's a funny guy. I like him. I put him right here. Sidon, again, he's just so awesome. Like Riju. good personality, good design, interesting character stuff. I give him S tier, and he deserves it. Sonya is just like boring. I know a lot of people like Sonya, and I don't really know why. Is it because she's cute? I don't know. Guess I could put her above Joshua at the very least. She's just like, she's kind of boring. She's in some memories and she talks about nothing and then she dies. Okay. People are like, oh, she's like Zelda's mom that she never had. And she's like, yeah, barely like that. Like, I don't know. She just dies after doing nothing. Cool. Bye. Like, is she stupid? She stopped the puppet Zelda, but then Ganondorf was just there anyway. Also, why did Ganondorf even need puppet Zelda if he was just gonna show up and kill her? Anyway, you know, he could have just been standing there and just killed her. Also, if Zelda's supposed to be like a long time descendant of Rauru and Sonya, where's their kid? Did they have a kid before Sonya died? Where's the kid at? They must have had a kid. Happened off screen? You don't need to know. Don't think about it. Okay? Don't think about it. Taro, he's okay. He's okay. I give him right there. Teba, I love him because he was awesome in Breath of the Wild, so I give him A tier. Even though he didn't do anything in this game to deserve it. Tulin, I give him S tier. He's amazing. He's so cute. He has a good little personality. Does act like that, like a kid his age. He's a good character. He's a good character and his ability is the best in the game, so thank you. I give Sidon's fiance a B tier. Moving this guy down to C tier. He's stupid and ugly, and I didn't want this to be 2 rows. I give Sidon's fiance a B tier. She's cute, kind of. She's cute in a weird way. She's a nice girl. I think she's a good fit for Sidon. Maybe Link can get in on the threesome if he wants. Inobo, I give him A tier. He's not as good as the other sages, and he's kind of an idiot. He's kind of a really big idiot. He's kind of really stupid, but he's a nice guy. Zelda, I give her an A tier. She doesn't really deserve it. Just like half these characters in A tier don't deserve it, but I like that she turned into a dragon. I like her haircut. Give her I put her right there. I'm moving Per up too. Don't at me. And there we go. And then these are some side characters plus a second Ganondorf. And that's it. That's it for the character tier list. It's not very different than the one I put in my video, I don't think. Maybe there's a little bit of shuffling around. I move this guy down a tier. But yeah, that's about it. There you go. Now onto the games. Okay, first things first, I need to get rid of the ones I didn't play. Like 4 Swords Adventures and 4 Swords and Link's Awakening and the Oracle games, and then that's it. And Triforce Heroes. Alright, NA didn't play enough to know. Now let's order this by release date. I have no idea when Minish Cap came out compared to everything else, so I can see it 2004. When did Phantom Hourglass come out? Surely after, since it was on the DS. Duh. Wind Waker, where is Wind Waker? Oh, there. Wind Waker must have been before Minish Cap since it had Toon Link. When did Twilight Princess come out compared to the DS games in Minish Cap? We go to Zelda Dungeon, Wind Waker, Minish Cap, Twilight Princess. Okay, makes sense. All right, let's just start from the beginning. Zelda 1. It's very old. It's very dated. I appreciate it for what it did. I appreciate it. It was an amazing game at the time, but I was born well after this game was out. I was born when Ocarina of Time was out, you know, and all these other games. When I grew up with, you know, Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker and Minish Cap. These were like the 3 games that I played when I was a kid. So, and they're just better in every way than Zelda 1, which all the dungeons are pretty similar. They all have the same song except for the final dungeon. The bosses are okay. The puzzles aren't that crazy. But it's also, there's a ton of secrets that you'd never get because they're just random. A lot of this stuff is very obtuse and you don't really know what to do without a guide. It's just not, I don't think it's a good game to play in the modern day and age. if I was telling someone to get into Zelda, I would not recommend this. I'd recommend maybe A Link to the Past if they were a big fan of 2D retro games, or I would suggest Ocarina of Time if they were into older games, or I would recommend Breath of the Wild if they were into newer games. I would not recommend Zelda 1 to like a Soul. I give it a C tier. This is probably my most controversial placement here, but it's old. It's old. All these games except Zelda 2 are just better games. I do appreciate Zelda 1. I do love that it was amazing at the time. It was amazing at the time. No one can deny it. If I was making this list in the 90s, it would be an S tier. You know what I mean? Making this list in the 80s, it would be an S tier. But it's not the 80s. It's the 2020s, and it's just outdated. It's nice to look back on it and be like, oh, I look at how it affected gaming. Look at how the series adapted the things that it did and just made them better. It's not a very fun game to play nowadays when you have games that just control better, play better, sound better, look better, but it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game or anything like that. It's just an old game and not one that I would ever want to replay. That's for sure. Zelda 2 just sucks straight up. I don't like what they did with the gameplay. I don't like the random encounters on the overworld map. Like, this is like, what is this, Final Fantasy? But also it's not, it doesn't play like Final Fantasy, so why are we doing this? Don't like the 2D platformer aspect of the dungeons. Like, I don't know, man. Something about it just doesn't work. The only good thing to come out of it is the temple palace theme that they put into Smash Brothers. That's about it. That's the only good thing to come out of it. I know there's some people out there who are crazy and they like this game. It's just, but it ain't for me. Link to the Past, basically at this time perfected 2D Zelda into A Link Between Worlds. But at the time, this was just like the best 2D Zelda game. Nothing could really come close to it. Not Minish Cap, not Phantom Hourglass, not Spirit Tracks. And then there's Link Between Worlds, but I give it an A tier. My only issue with it is that its combat is a little outdated feeling. The D-pad four directional combat can be a little tough. Some of the dungeons, like the Ice Palace, just straight up are trash. But if you can get, and Link looks really weird. He looks really weird. His sprite is like just clown vomit. Tons of different colors just mashed together, but it's still a great game. It has great music, fun bosses, good dungeons, some bad dungeons, but a lot of good dungeons too. And yeah, it introduced the Master Sword, introduced, a lot of great things like Kakariko. It's a great game. Definitely recommend someone play that. Anyone in the world should play this. Ocarina of Time, maybe I'm biased, but I give it S tier. It's like the greatest game ever made or something, right? All the dungeons except like Jabu Jabu are amazing. Music's great. The atmosphere's great. First 3D game in the series, and it did it really well. I love the charm of the game. It's old, but it doesn't feel as outdated as like Zelda 1 feels. You can still play it. Maybe I'm just used to the controls. Maybe it would be harder for someone to play it, and they wouldn't be used to the fact they have to Z target to change directions. And they're like, why can't I use a right stick to turn the camera? But for me, that doesn't. I'm used to it, so maybe if I wasn't used to it, it would be a problem. A lot of good characters, a lot of charming characters in this game. Malon, Ruto, Saria. Good characters. Dampe. Yes, I like this game. Obviously. I mean, what else is there to say? It's just amazing. Majora's Mask is also S tier. The side content in this game is fantastic. Fantastically good. This is like probably the game with the best writing in the series, which is shocking because it only took them like a year to make it. But I guess that just meant that they just let the creativity flow and nothing got like canceled. They didn't say, hey, this is too weird and wacky or anything. They just They just let the game become what it wanted to become instead of what they thought it should be, right? And it turned out to be amazing. Turned out to be one of the most bizarre yet creative games that Nintendo's ever released. The mask system is pretty cool. I love the bunny hood, my beloved bunny hood. But yeah, the masks are cool. The atmosphere is amazing. There's not that many dungeons. There's only 4, plus the moon, which is barely a dungeon. But they're all pretty good. They're all pretty good. Great Bay is a little lacking. Stone Tower Temple is really great. And then the other 2 are also very good. But yeah, the game, what it lacks in quantity of dungeons, it makes up for in quality of like writing and characters and wacky shit. Very good. Very good game. The time limit thing can be a bit of a put off for people, but it's a kid's game. You're never really going to actually, run out of time doing anything if you, just play the inverted Song of Time. It's not going to be a big deal. It's just kind of there so that it's best used to just like teleport to the clock tower, really. Clock town, I mean. Once you've like finished wrapping up some stuff, you can lock that progress in, teleport to clock town, and start your next adventure. But yeah, Wind Waker has a lot of problems. I don't think it's impossible to say that, but I have so much nostalgia for it that I can't put it any lower than this, top of A tier. It doesn't have that many dungeons. 2 of the mini dungeons, which are barely mini dungeons, that Ice and Fire Island, were supposed to be real dungeons, I think, but they got canned because of time constraints or something, which is a bit of a shame. So it doesn't have very many dungeons. The dungeons are pretty good though. The music is really great. It's really amazing. The music is amazing. It's got a lot of cool stuff. It's got a lot of charm. Big problem though is that the Great Sea is big and empty. You fight the same like tentacle monster over and over again in the Great Sea. And then another big problem is the incredible padding quest at the very end where you have to collect all the Triforce shards, which was improved upon in the HD on the Wii U, but not completely removed or anything, which, bit of a shame that instead of like changing it to make the quest fun, they just cut out half the stuff you had to do, right? So it was still boring padding, but just for less time. That part's pretty annoying, but oh well. And then you have to refight every boss at the end, and the last dungeon kind of sucks, but oh well. But other than that, I love the game, I love the characters, I love the charm, I love Toon Link. Toon Link's amazing, and I love Toon Link. He's the best Link in the whole series. I love Toon Link. Minish Cap is it's hard for me to explain why I like this game so much. I love the music, the dungeons are good, I like the items, I like Link, Toon Link, of course, Toon Link. Vati's cool, not a villain that you get to fight a whole lot. The Kinstones, not great, not the best thing in the world, but largely ignorable. The mystery shells are stupid. It's so annoying to see a chest and then you open it and it's mystery shells or whatever the fuck they're called. The stupid shells that you use to get a statue, and it like, if there's a video about the worst heart piece in Zelda history. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the heart piece in this game where you have to get every single statue from the shell mini game, and it like the amount of time and grinding it would take to get all the statues is insanity. It's truly insanity. I don't know how anyone could if there's a 100% speed run of this game, which I don't know if there is, how the fuck do they get that heart piece? They have to glitch it. They have to like clip through the wall or something, right? There's no way that they actually go and get all the statues, because that would just imagine that, imagine that you get so unlucky and it takes you like 40 hours straight. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. That heart piece is ridiculous. Thankfully, I'm not a completionist, so I didn't give a shit about that. I like the scrolls in this game. Those are cool. The game is very cute. It has a lot of charm. I love some of the dungeons. The sky dungeon, whatever it's called, is very amazing. Rock's Cape is fun to use. I give it A tier. It's actually the first Zelda game that I completed all the way through to the very end and fought the final boss without ever looking up anything. Never even looked up a guide or anything like that. I just played the game and I loved it. So I do have a lot of nostalgia bias here, but are all tier lists biased? This is my tier list. Your tier list does not need to look the same. Trust me. Twilight Princess, this is a hard one to gauge. On one hand, it has like some of the best dungeons in the series. Honestly, probably the best dungeons in the series. But on the other hand, you have Wolf Link, and the Wolf Link segments, especially the ones where you're collecting the Tears of Light, are really boring and really long. So that's a bit of a shame. Midna is the greatest character in the whole Zelda series, though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is actually true. But other than that, yeah, there's some good characters in this game. Link is good. I like Link. He looks cool in this game. I like Wolf. I think Wolf Link looks cool. But man, his gameplay segments are not the greatest. Not the greatest in the world. But the dungeons are so damn good. I can't put it anywhere but A tier. I mean, the last dungeon's not so good, but oh well. Yeah, I give it A tier. I don't know if I would put it above Minish Cap. I am going to be playing this game soon on the main channel. So after I actually play it all the way through for myself, because I never actually beat the game myself. I played it, never beat it all the way through, but I watched someone beat the game all the way through, and I've seen plenty of speedruns as well. But yeah, I watched a playthrough and played it myself, but never beat it all the way through myself. So maybe after actually beating it all the way through myself, I might put it above Minish Cap, maybe even put it above Link to the Past if I'm feeling peachy. But for now, I'm gonna put it below Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. I'm putting them both in B tier. These are the two Zelda games that I just recently played on my channel. I like Spirit Tracks a little bit more than Phantom Hourglass. The thing about Phantom Hourglass, though, I think that the dungeons were a little bit better, but Temple of the Ocean King was way worse than Tower of Spirits. I like that you actually go on a quest to forge the sword instead of just being handed the sword like in Spirit Tracks. Anjean is just like, here's the Locomo sword, here you go. In this game, you actually go and you craft the Phantom Sword. And I think sailing in the sea is actually better than the train tracks, because the train tracks, they are on set paths, whereas in the Great Sea you can just draw a line straight to where you need to go and not have to go around a bunch of like predetermined tracks. So I think the Great Sea ends up being a little quicker to navigate. I don't actually know if that's entirely true, but travel time is definitely a problem in both of these games. But Spirit Tracks, I think the travel time feels a little worse, but the song that plays while traveling is better. So maybe it evens out, I don't know. But Spirit Tracks had great dungeons as well. Tower of Spirits was a far better dungeon, mega dungeon than Temple of the Ocean King. And this game had a lot of cool characters. I liked Byrne, I like Anjean. This game had Linebeck though, so I don't know. It's hard to say which of these is better in the long run, but I give it to Spirit Tracks just because Princess Zelda is such a good character in this game. None of these games have a better Princess Zelda than Spirit Tracks. I'm gonna say it. I think that is true. Like Ocarina of Time, she's fine. She's chic for some of the time, but all Sheik does is teach you psalms. She's not even in Majora's Mask. Wind Waker, Tetra's awesome, but you know, not as good as the Zelda in Spirit Tracks, who is your companion for the whole game. And in Wind Waker, when she turns into Princess Zelda, she becomes boring. Link to the Past, she's like literally whatever, who cares? Minish Cap, I like that she's your childhood friend, and then she gets captured immediately at the beginning of the game. Well, not captured, she gets turned into a damn statue. Twilight Princess, she's in one scene and then she shows up at the end of the game. as Puppet Zelda for some reason, right? Like, I don't know what happens to her. Nothing. I don't know. She doesn't do anything. Midna's the real princess of that game. And then in Spirit Tracks, she's there the whole game. She is funny. She's cute. She's charming. She's there the whole damn time, and that is really good. Phantom Hourglass, Tetra's just a statue the entire time until the very end. What the hell? But at least her personality was still there. Zelda 1, she's literally like just at the end of the game. She's like, thanks for saving me. Zelda 2, I don't know, same story. She's asleep and then you save her and then she gives a kiss to Link. I don't know about these games, so I can't say for sure on those. You can't even see my mouse, can you? Let me fix that. Okay, now you should be able to see my mouse. Yeah, like I was saying, these games I don't know anything about, so I can't say for sure. Skyward Sword, that's like the only other really good Zelda, but she's not with you the whole time like in Spirit Tracks, so I think that's how Spirit Tracks ekes out a little win there. But she's very good in Skyward Sword as well. Link Between Worlds, she's alright. Hilda's better. And then in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, she is okay. She's not really in the main quest. She's in the memories, and then at the very end of the game. That's all she gets, really. She's in the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom, but I mean, who cares? So yeah, I think Princess Zelda was the best she's ever been in Spirit Tracks, but the game itself, it's a DS game, it's a DS Zelda, so controlling it is a little annoying. I wish that they went back to a proper control scheme after Phantom Hourglass, but they kept it going in Spirit Tracks for some reason. Oh well. It's still a good game. I think if you're a Zelda fan, you should give these two games a shot. You might actually end up enjoying them a bit. I mean, they're still Zelda games. Phantom Hourglass has some good dungeons, but Temple of the Ocean King, be prepared to be annoyed by that. Spirit Tracks has some good dungeons, and Tower Spirits is good, but nothing's blowing me away. Skyward Sword, I give it the bottom of A. The dungeons are really good, and then the second half of the game is just padding galore, which is really annoying. It's like cemented at the bottom of A. The only reason I don't put it lower is because the music is good, the dungeons are good, Zelda's good, Groose is amazing. So it has some good characters, Girahim, and the dungeons are amazing, but the padding is pretty annoying and bad and sucks, but everything else in the game really good. But yeah, it's like cemented at the bottom of A. I don't think I'll ever want to move it from there. Link Between Worlds, call me crazy, I'm putting it in S tier. All the dungeons, amazing. The story, pretty good. Not bad at all. Hilda, great character. Ravio, great character. Music, amazing. Gameplay, really good. It's basically just a Link to the Past, but perfected, right? The gameplay's better because you have analog, directional control. It looks better, sounds better. The dungeons are better. I don't think there's really a weak dungeon in this game, really. Maybe like the ice place, whatever it was called, I don't know. Maybe that one was a little weaker, but other than that, amazing. Really cool final boss fight as well. Yeah, it's just amazing. Just an amazing game. Yes. Breath of the Wild, going to give it A tier. Where in A tier though? Pretty high in A tier. I think it's better than Link to the Past. I mean, really it should be better than Wind Waker, but I have nostalgia for Wind Waker. Plus the dungeons in Breath of the Wild suck, and weapon durability is a little annoying. The shrines are tedious and boring once you do a bunch of them already. The story is a little lackluster. The characters, the few characters that are in there are good, but not blowing me away or anything. The Divine Beasts are just trash. They're just trash. They really bring down this game a lot, because I'm like, oh boy, time to do a dungeon. Oh look, it's a Divine Beast where the interior looks identical to the other ones, and the boss looks identical to the other ones, and now it's over. Hooray. You know what I mean? At least Hyrule Castle was a cool location with great music. The rest of the game, I don't know. I like running around and I like exploring, but that's about it. Everything else about the game is not the most amazing, but I think that it really this game did need to exist and shake things up a bit. When I played it, and I was actually playing it for the first time. It was amazing exploring this new world that I never seen before in a Zelda game. All these weird, wacky characters and all this weird, silly stuff you can do. But the dungeons were disappointing. I don't really like that the Master Sword runs out of energy so quickly. But yeah, it's not a bad game. Certainly not a bad game. It's an amazing game, and I do recommend anyone play it. It's just that a few of the things in the game, like the Divine Beast, drag it down. I can't put it in S tier because the dungeons are poo-poo garbage, and dungeons are really one of the things that I enjoy Zelda for. But it's just still good. I thought it was amazing when I was playing it, and it is amazing. That's why it's an A tier. Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is in this weird spot in between S tier and A tier, where I don't exactly know if I want to put it in A tier or S tier. It's in like a limbo state right now. I'll probably decide at some point in my brain. Like on one hand, I want to put it in S tier just because of all the ways it improved on Breath of the Wild. Zonai devices are a major improvement. I don't think I could stand playing Breath of the Wild again and not having access to Zonai devices to fly around and do crazy shit. Ascend is just an amazing ability. If I went back to play Breath of the Wild, I'd probably be like, oh boy, I can't wait to use Ascend here. Oh wait, I can't. Damn it. Right? I like how there's more to the game now. You got the sky and you got the depths, although the depths are a little lacking for me. I thought the sky was pretty cool. So there's more to do. They changed up the game a bit. They added some caves and wells and all that. But yeah, I think the new abilities add a lot to the game. It's definitely a step above Breath of the Wild. I don't know if it quite goes into S tier, because while it did add real dungeons back into the game, which is what I wanted, they were still a bit too open. Not really traditional puzzles. And I just felt like they were like, you could easily cheese them. Like the fire temple was so easily cheesable. The water temple was so small and easy and boring. And then like the wind temple was all right. And then the lightning temple was pretty good. But again, it's just missing something. I think like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, the other 3D Zelda games, just straight up have better dungeons overall. Like, I don't even know if the Lightning Temple, which is my favorite dungeon from Tears of the Kingdom, like it would go above like Jabu Jabu's belly and like maybe like the Palace of the Twilight or whatever that shit it was called. But like not really anything else. Like maybe it'd go above Great Bay, maybe, but I don't know. The dungeons, I'm glad they're back, but if they make another game in this style where it has like this kind of gameplay, I hope it's not the same Hyrule again. That would be really disappointing. I hope it's more like just the same engine, new location, new characters, you're doing a new thing, you're fighting a new villain, and I hope that they have dungeons that are either more of them or bigger and more expansive. Because I just felt like not enough dungeons. Shrines, I think, were better because there's a lot of cool physics puzzles, but they do start feeling tedious after a while, and I get sick of doing them. The depths was like really boring. Sorry if you like the depths. I thought it was really boring, and only useful for fighting Koga and getting some crystallized charges. Other than that, it was just a boring place that looked the same everywhere you went. The amiibo gear is cool that you can get it, but also whatever. So, other than that, I think it was good still. I think it was a great game. I loved it. I loved every moment I played it, unless it was getting tedious, like when I was traveling throughout the depths, getting all the light routes. I wasn't having too much fun then, but that was my own damn fault for trying to get every light route for some reason. But yeah, so I don't know. On one hand, side quests are a little boring. The depths is boring. The dungeons aren't exceptional. The combat is very similar to Breath of the Wild. It's basically just dodge and then flurry rush the game, or just mindlessly attack enemies with your overpowered fuse weapons. So on one hand, I'm like, well, those things make me want to put it in A tier. And then on my other hand, I'm like, well, the music was good. I like the characters a bit more. I like the story a tiny bit more, not really that much more. That's kind of like, I'm kind of neutral on that. It's not really a plus or a minus against putting it in S or A tier. But I like the Zonai devices. I like the new abilities a lot more. I like exploring more. Exploring just felt funner to do because you had so much more mobility, which you needed that mobility because there was 3 different areas of the game, right? I'm glad the dungeons are back, although they are not that great, but they're better than the Divine Beasts by a good chunk. The bosses, I love the bosses. I love the dungeon music. I love the boss music. Ganondorf is way cooler than Calamity Ganon. The Demon Dragon is a way better final boss than Beast Ganon, even though it's still just as easy. At least it's a little bit more engaging since you have to dive. And you know, Beast Ganon just sits there like an idiot shooting a laser that is never going to hit you. So with all that, I'm like, maybe I put it in S tier. Because while I was sitting there playing it, I didn't want to stop. I was having so much fun playing it. And then when I'm not playing it, I'm like, well, that part kind of sucks. The depths are kind of bad. But when I actually do sit down and play it, I just don't want to stop. But I don't know. So it's in this weird spot. I'm definitely leaning more towards S right now, but I don't know if that's just because I only recently beat it, so it's still fresh in my mind, all the good stuff. But I don't know. Like, putting it in A tier, like, this just looks wrong to me. Putting it in S tier, that looks a little bit more correct. But I don't know. Like, it's in a weird limbo state. It's like an A+, S- kind of deal. Like, it's definitely better than all of these. No doubt in my mind. But I don't think it's better than any of these. So I don't know, do I put it here? Do I put it here? Or do I just keep it in its own special tier? I don't know. Well, anyway, this is my tier list. If I had to choose one right now, I'd put it in S tier. But for now, I think I'll just keep it in its own special tier. Call it a S-. Because it does have some problems. A lot more problems than these games have for me. But at the same time, it's just such a fun, amazing game to play. Anyway, that's all I have for you. There's my 2 stupid tier lists. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.